and I just want to know from you guys in a perspective, at 12, Mason Graham's off the board. Are you taking a Kenneth Grant or a Walter Nolan with your 12th overall pick?
If I had to pick between the two, they're both very close in my breakdown. I'd be leaning towards Walter Nolan. And the most significant reason is his sack pressure rate and his sack rate. And he's got a much better pressure rate.
And he had 6 sacks. That's pretty nice. Mozzie Smith didn't even have 1 in college.
Yeah.
His whole career, or 0.5, I think he had his whole career.
The other thing is he's got a really, really good stop rate. I think he's second ranked out of all the guys that we have here. Let me just have a look. Yeah, third ranked.
So realistically, we're not getting a Mason Graham. That's not going to happen. He's not going to fall. So let's get a draft buzz of Walter Nolan.
Okay, we'll bring up Walter Nolan. One thing I think would be phenomenal with your Skittle board, which I know you could do it with certain parameters. I just don't know what you put in there. But let's say I want to see Kenneth Grant and TJ Sanders and Shamar Turner, and I just want to see them 3 on their side, all their comparative side by side, depending on their rank. It would be nice to see guys that you're picking and having them their stats stacked up together.
I'd probably have to, I can look into that.
We'll talk about it off book, but as you're going through, I'm like, I'd like, because when Ann said, would you take one of those guys? I'm like, well, how marginally better are they than somebody that we could grab, like a Tyleik Williams or an Alfred Collins in round 2?
Hey, baby, that's why I did the fucking impact value.
Okay.
I'm PFFing this for you.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Thank you. So I'll ask that.
But you can also look at the end if you're looking for the guy who I don't care about his pass rush. I just care about his stop. Walter Nolan is your dude. He ain't going to pass rush very well. He's very poor on that.
Yeah.
But he's exceptional at the stop run.
Yeah.
He's not going to pass rush? I mean, he had 6 sacks.
He had 6 sacks, but his pass rush win rate is very low. So, yeah, he can still get in there and sack.
I wonder if that's just because he played a lot of downs.
He had 587 downs. He's like, I'm just saying these are just the stats. So if you don't really care much about the pass rush win rate, if he's getting 6% pressure rate, which is a little bit better than average, then who gives a shit? Pass rush win rate means not too much, right?
Because he has a nice sack pressure rate.
He does.
Let's get a look at this guy.
Yeah.
Because I think he's realistically the only person at 12 that the Dallas Cowboys might take. So he played for Ole Miss. He obviously was, he played for Texas A&M before also, but this last season he played for Ole Miss. 6'3", 293 pounds. So not exactly the size that I'm looking for.
No, he's going to need to have to put on 15 pounds to get into that wage A, because the scale's a little bit different on these guys. It's a lot lower because we want heavier pounds per square inch, right? So Walter Nolan is a little bit light, but if you put 12 to 15 pounds on, then he would be hitting that average kind of
nice area.
Nice area for his weight. Also, just real quick, the position values on Draft Buzz are different because they also included on the DL edges.
Right.
And so edges eat up a shit ton.
They value an edge rusher more than a defensive interior.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I just looked at the DTs and...
Well, let's see what he sizes up, because they do. They scroll down on this motherfucker here. So measurables, like we just talked about, not exactly the weight that we like to see. His hands are a little bit small. His arm length isn't great, but he's fast. So they're calling him a fast guy, and that's maybe why he has those 6 sacks. And this right now is kind of putting me off of Walter Nolan, to be honest.
I don't like the arm length, to be honest.
I want a plug and place guy, right? Yeah. A guy that from right now you could put him on the defensive line and not have to worry about getting him to gain 15 pounds. If anything, you're just trying him to maintain his weight. Yeah. You're not trying to get him to gain it. You're trying to get him to keep it. Like, you kind of see what happened with Mozzie Smith his first year in the pros. He lost 20 pounds or 30 pounds, whatever it was. So I don't like the fact of having to get a guy in there that's already a little bit on the light side.
Well, let's look. So I have this ranked now by the wage A body rate, and we needed a little song for that. Wage A's body rate. But you can see down here, the average, like we were looking at for running backs, is different, obviously. It's about a 0.62 is what you're looking for. Mason Graham's in that 0.6. Same with Ashton Gianti. He wasn't the very top, but he was just above the average at point. I think the average was 0.84 and he was 0.82. So he's just a little bit heavier, which is nice. You can tell that just a little bit of weight is a good thing.
Yeah, but it looks like, the money spot is like 0.60 to 0.62 is where all the guys that are very good at what they do.
Exactly, yeah. And Kenneth Grant maybe is that dude. Should we look at Kenneth Grant now?
Yeah, we can look at Kenneth Grant. And then there's another guy on. So Michael Clark in the chat's bringing up a name that I just saw there that I'd like to bring up. Because I don't know.
Is he like 12th overall pick?
He's a good
What's his name?
He's a body rate boy. He's a third rounder.
What's his name?
Deion Walker.
Oh yeah, we know. I know.
Yeah, he's a body rate boy.
So another Michigan Wolverine guy. We got 6'3", 342 pounds, absolute behemoth of a person. And you got
Good
down
40
here.
too.
His weight's great. He runs the same 40 as Walter Nolan. Heights, 6'3". I'm not going to knock him for there when he's all that junk in the trunk. His arms roughly the same as Walter Nolan.
A little longer.
But his span, he's got a bigger span and he's fast. So this guy's a kind of a, I'll toss me one too, son. This guy is a genetic freak. To be able to be 342 pounds and still run a 4.95 is pretty insane.
He's got a good body. So I guess, I honestly wouldn't be mad with either one, but I think you've won me over with the idea of getting a guy who doesn't have to put on weight. In fact, 342, you might even be like, hey man, you could lose 5 pounds.
Yeah. And then it wouldn't probably affect his game.
It wouldn't affect his game because he'd still be right up there. And if I remember correctly, and we'll ask Big Chris when he's on next week, but Big Chris was always looking for a guy that was well over 305, I believe.
Yeah.
310.
And he's going to have a lot of insight because two of these top 20 picks for the defensive tackle position were Michigan boys in Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. So Big Chris is going to be able to give us a lot of insight on that.